Good morning and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host, Richard Charpentier, and every Tuesday we go through questions that were submitted to Bakerpedia to try to answer it as best as we can within a 10-minute format. So let's get it started. So first question, today we have a question asking about potassium sorbate. And the question goes, somebody making a mixture of for a filling of chocolate cream with peanut butter and plums. And can I use potassium sorbate to prevent it? Is this soluble in chocolate, and is it effective for plum? So first of all, solubility of potassium sorbate varies based on a different solvent, so different formulation. For example, if you take it at the temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, or Fahrenheit, sorry, which is about 20 degrees Celsius, the solubility in water of potassium sorbate is roughly around 58%. At boiling point, which is 100 Celsius, which is 212 Fahrenheit, you get about 64% solubility. So not everything is soluble. So now in the case of chocolate is, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a coating? Are we talking about a real chocolate? So which is going to be high fat, so that might prevent solubility. First thing before discussing whether or not what you need to put into your filling is what's the content of sugar, what's the water activity of your product, and then let's determine what do you need. It's always good to add a antimicrobial ingredients such as potassium sorbate or maybe sorbic acid, and understand how effective is this. And if it's part of a multi-component, then you'd have to understand the equilibrium of the water moving around from the filling to a cake to whatever else you're doing. But potassium sorbate will be a great choice. I think to start with, you might have to maybe solubilize, so you put into solution, add, a soluble one. So because if it's high fat and not enough of water, and if it doesn't get cooked, you're going to get about half of it, 50 to 60%, that is in a soluble form. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it's always better to, increase the efficacy of the potassium sorbate within your system. But excellent question. Next question. We have some and someone asking about two questions below, so I hope you can help me. One, how can I compare results between a Pheronograph and a Alveograph? And two, well, we'll start with that. What's the difference between a Farinograph and a Alveograph? So both are analytical machines that both, provide information regarding the tolerance of flour to the mechanical stress that you put when you're trying to make bread into a factory. However, the Alveograph as a P and L ratio, which is the elasticity over extensibility. And that will give you additional information on the dough behavior, such as the resistance as you're mixing. Both of them, the key is I would go, if you can, is get both analytical tools, Farinograph and Mixograph, because the more you learn about your flour, the better you can predict the changes and the better you can start dosing or adding unique ingredients to your bakery. But, in terms of, they will have to be your results will have to be read separately, but you will, once you put them side by side, you will see basically the differences. As the Pheronograph, it's a machine, it's with Brabender units. You put the right, it's measuring on torque, and then you're going to see your mixing tolerance index. As here, you're going to see a little more, as mentioned, with the Alveograph will provide just a little more information overall for your bakery. Now, moving on to the next question of the first question, how can I classify if the flour is good for pasta or biscotti or bread? So that's to me, everything has to be based on what's the gold standard of your pasta? What's the gold standard of your biscotti? Because all of it, as mentioned, those tools are helping you both regarding the tolerance of the flour you're using based on the mechanical stress exerted during the process. So not knowing your process, you might, if it's very gentle, very slow, you might be able to get with one flour that almost works well to make pasta and biscotti, and you'll be completely fine. As for your bread, it might be different. So you have to, what type of bread are you making? Are you making more of the, the dense bread? What's your process like? And once you know that, it's establishing, I would rather do it like that, is establishing a specification strictly for your product, which is what most bakeries do. And then later on, they'll go to the miller and say, hey, this is in order to perform well, this is the flour I want with that type of ash, that type of protein. Because all of it, flour is basically changing all the time. It's affected by factors such as milling, the aging, the climate, the prior year. So there's a lot of things varying. The tool, the Alveograph and the Faronographs, are really going to allow you to make sure, am I within the specs that I'm trying to meet in order to produce the similar consistent product. That's basically what you're doing with those tools. So, but that was a great question. And I do appreciate again all of you for sending your questions. So that's it for today. So thank you very much for watching Tuesday 10 at 10 every Tuesday. And just as a last note, go check the Bakerpedia page. If you don't do it, there's a lot of great information on Pheronograph, on Alveographs, on mixographs, and the different analytical tools used in the bakery. So, and if you don't, please can continue sending questions, but there's a lot of great segment from Dr. Lillian Carson that is done on Bakerpedia. So keep on watching, and you have happy baking and happy Tuesday. Thank you.